Namaskar. I welcome you all for Investor Hangout session brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Asset Management Company and Value Research. With me today, we have two important guests, my CEO, MD and CEO, Mr. Balasubramaniam, and Mr. Dhirendra Kumar. And this is a special episode of Investor Hangouts, talking to you on making sense of your investments during COVID-19 and the crisis thereafter. On the back of COVID-19 induced health and economic concerns, financial markets across the globe have been facing utmost volatility. Unlike 2008 global financial crisis or 1999 dot-com bubble, which we have restricted to certain sections or certain sectors or certain countries, but COVID-19 has impacted across the globe and across the nations and across the economies. To be sure, of the 30 years of my career in the capital markets, I have not seen a fall that is nearly 40% in a month. No doubt, these are the unprecedented times, and there is a virus in the air, there is a fear in the mind. And this is the time there is an anxiety on our investments, and sometimes there is a depleting wealth. And every time we are in the social distancing, sometimes it's a time for us to look at portfolio distancing too. And to get the answer to our anxiety and to revisit what kind of investment strategy we need to have at this point of time and how we need to recalibrate our own investments. Do we need to continue with which kind of investments? Do we need to rebalance, reallocate? What kind of asset allocation we need to have? With us, we have two legends, two experts who can take us through these questions. And incidentally, this is our 121 episode of Hangouts. And 121, the episode number is 121. Here we have 121 with two legends. And before I start this session, I invite Mr. Bala. Bala doesn't need any introduction to any one of you. He is our MD and CEO, and he is with Aditya Birla since inception. And he will brief us, take us through how this crisis has evolved, how it is impacting, and what is that we can look forward. And after that brief, we will go back to Dhiren and check on how our personal finance can work on. And over to Bala sir to take us through around this crisis. And soon we are getting out of lockdown, but how do we look at our investments? I mean, do we need to freeze our investments? Do we need to quarantine our equity and look at fixed income very differently? Over to you, Bala sir.
Yeah, thanks, Rao, and thanks to Dhirendra Kumar for joining me as part of this investor hangout. As Rao mentioned, that I think the last 1 month has been a pretty tough and unprecedented time that we have seen, thanks to the COVID-19 virus thing has brought down the whole world to a standstill. And second, the subsequent impact that came on the back of lockdown, the economic growth expectations have got reduced quite significantly. And today, IMF is talking about less than 1% growth for the world economy. And India, of course, the growth rate could come down to below 3%. And this is something which has never happened in the past. I think Rao, while speaking, he mentioned about 1999 bubble. I think he referred to 2008 Lehman Brothers crisis. And this COVID crisis actually is much larger than what is in the past. And that we have seen actually even the stock market, when they reacted very sharply. In the matter of 30 days, the Sensex fell by about 40%. And that's, I think, is actually, I've been using the word called reset. I think because of the COVID impact, the world economy is getting reset. The way the business being run is getting reset. And most of the companies, when established players, have survived many amount of cycles, also put to a test. There's something which is unique that has happened in the world. In my own career of about 30 years in the Indian financial market, this is something which is unprecedented. And these times, of course, as market, when it falls, naturally, of course, gets worried. But you must also understand the market get corrected for two things. One, I always say the market price dance to the tune of the earnings. The earnings are good, market does well. The earnings are not good, market doesn't do well. And today, the earnings are not that great, therefore, the market got corrected. Having said that, and every now and then such kind of thing happens, the people who are responsible for driving the economic growth and bring back the confidence and ensure that the economy doesn't get into kind of recession. The two players, of course, play a very key role every now and then, historically as well as this time as well, which is nothing but Reserve Bank of India as a central banker. They have taken many steps to ensure to boost the confidence on the while we are all in lockdown period, and all of us as an investors, as well as the business people sitting and operating. I must mention that our regulators have been attending offices and taking many decisions which are very important for driving the confidence in the economy. Which is one is Reserve Bank of India, second is probably I would assume Prime Minister Office as well as the Ministry of Finance in Delhi. Maybe I can call it the North Block. They have been working over time to ensure that they come with many measures on a continuous basis to ensure that the economy, as and when it picks up, it actually starts picking up very quickly. One such measure the Reserve Bank of India has taken is cut down the interest rates on one side, improving the liquidity in the banking system, which essentially means that interest rates as we move forward, I think will be one of the supporting instruments for economic growth to come back as and when it comes back. Second is the government of India. Also, I think looking at various measures at this point of time, they have announced so far only the administrative related measures to drive the economic growth back, that drive certain decisions for the companies to operate smoothly, those who got affected because of lockdown. At the same time, they have plans to come with a series of measures to improve the sentiment in the form of fiscal measures, giving some special benefit to MSMEs, SMEs, auto sectors. All these things are likely to come once, I think, as we move into the lockdown period to the normal working period, or maybe over a period of next 15-20 days. So this is where I think the economic recovery comes back. Therefore, market also will start looking at such a positive development and to reflect on the market. That's why we are seeing, though what I said, actually the market fell by about 40% in the month of March. From there, of course, the market has bounced back quite smartly by about 20%, purely on the back of that step that is being taken by the government and RBI to bring back the confidence. Therefore, from investors' point of view, market will go through such kind of volatility. There are no doubt uncertain times. From investors' point of view, one has to keep the confidence that in the long run, market of course will do well. Therefore, somebody has the investments in equity and continue to do an SIP, one must keep that SIP investment alive for one simple reason. These investments are considered for the purpose of creating long-term wealth. This investment has been created with the goal in mind, and therefore one has to just continue to keep this investment. Also, as during the volatile time, I have to ask a lot of questions from people, which again, should I invest, should I hold on? Some of the things which I always used to say, these are the uncertain time, that's the time, is the time when the market falls. Also should be seen as an opportunity rather than seeing it as something is dangerous to invest. But keeping that in mind, again, one should look at that part as an opportunity and make the investment. Lastly, the mutual fund industry. I've also gone through the last few days post to Franklin Templeton closing down some of the scheme for subscriptions and decided, of course, give the money back to investors at a later point of time. Also created some kind of question mark in the minds of people on fixed income schemes. Please remember that I've been in the market for 30 years, gone through multiple cycles, and fixed income market also go through some ups and downs like this. And believe me, the way I think that all of us have managed assets in the last number of years, one should also keep the similar confidence even in the fixed income schemes and continue to make the investment in the long run. Because at the long run, the more the time you give, the more the comfort that you get. The lesser the time you give for your investment, it can actually give you some kind of discomfort. Therefore, the more the time to be given for investments both in equity and fixed income in general on your investment mutual funds. And that's the advice I would give to all our viewers and investors. Of course, I have Dhirendra Kumar. He may also share his own views, but that's something I want to end. With this, I would assume that staying invested in the long run will actually give you a bigger benefit. Volatility is actually the function of various things. Sometimes the volatility can be quite large, as we have seen this time. Sometimes the volatility could stay for a longer period of time. But at the end of the day, all the volatility, if somebody rides through successfully, will get to see the benefit in the long run.
Thank you so much, Bala sir. It's indeed very detailed. It is not only your briefed us to the crisis, probably how we need to be stay calm during the turbulent period and how we can stay focused on our investments. I think it's a lot of information for the investors, what they can do and what they should not do. I'll just move the needle to Mr. Dhiren. Dhiren, with the backdrop of macros, Mr. Bala was speaking to us, and also a confidence which he has given even in the fixed income space, which people are little doubtful at this point of time. Please throw some light how how fixed income is safe to be continued, or how we can stay there, and or what is the kind of rebalance we can do. And there are a lot of questions which are coming in the chart, which we will take it to you later. But please brief how I can manage my personal finances better given the turbulence, and especially on the fixed income, and later on broaderly on the asset allocation.
One is that this is an unprecedented crisis. This was not, nobody could have anticipated. Nothing can be anticipated from here on. How it will pan out, how long will it take for it to resolve itself, when we will have the vaccines, when the lockdown will be over, will there be, if the lockdown is curtailed, will there be a repeat of the lockdown? We just don't know. When will the manufacturing capacities be restored? When consumers will have the confidence to get back to the shops, to the restaurants? So that is a huge, that is the economic challenge, and we don't have any of those answers. We just have those questions, and we are all sitting at home. We are all locked down. So it is very difficult to anticipate that how things will shape. But I think it is also a reminder. I don't think any of the personal finance principles that we have been talking about through all these educational initiatives, all my writings, over your hangouts, over your Mahakumbh, we keep reminding people, the basic tenets. Of course, this is not the time when, Bala said that, he has been in the market for 30 years and he has not seen anything like this. I have also been around for similar time period. I have also not seen anything like this. When somebody asked Charlie Munger, who is 90 years old, he also hasn't seen anything like this. His view was that, if you're in the middle of a typhoon and you are the captain of a ship, your whole focus should be tied over it. Somehow get over this and get over this with minimal of effort. And he's not seeing any, his phone is not ringing for any rescue. The world has come to a standstill. But I will get back to, the personal finance principles that we have been talking about, building a hierarchy of things. One is to have the emergency fund. I've seen you talking about it in all our Nivesh Mahakumbh, how to respect money, and if you respect it, it'll take care of you in bad times. In good times, it is all preaching. You have to, the learnings are absorbed much better when you experience the calamity. And I would look at it as I'm not saying we are happy about it. I'm not saying we are pleased with this. But this is something which is a grim reminder that if you did not take the talk that emergency fund, how important it is, this is a reminder that it is, and you can't do without it. And then comes, having that long-term orientation, investing your money in equity, having those basic principles, diversify, invest gradually, and have a long-term orientation, only put money in equity, which is 5 years or more. If somebody has done that, they can actually absorb even the 40% decline in Sensex. It was unnerving. The free fall in the market was not very comforting. It was raising doubts, and it is still raising doubts that are we in for a very difficult world? And how long will it take for us to make a comeback? But it does come back, if I'm still very optimistic for a simple reason that we are assuming that everything will happen and we will do nothing. Mankind has progressed through all kind of difficulties. So I would say that, there are a lot of things going on. The fact that we were able to lock down, the fact that we are able to withstand this crisis, the fact that we, the work on vaccinations is on, the healthcare workers have been mobilized. The country has been motivated and, and lockdown of a scale, which in a country, in the largest country in the world, the most populous, and making these, the young people, forcing them to be there, be at home, behave well, and largely we are getting through with this much better. So I would say that, a lot of things will happen. I don't think we are missing out on one thing, that there won't be any other development which will be which will happen. So my sense is that we can't do anything about what has been done, what has happened to us. We should be optimistic about what all will be done, and it will be good for the humanity, and we will be on the forefront. All the principles that I was referring to, when it comes to fixed income fund, there was a crisis, there is a crisis, and now we are paying a price for being greedy in the short term. Even there, the diversification matters. If all your money was in those credit funds simply because they were getting you a little more return, it'll cause discomfort. If a small part of it was in your fixed income allocation was there, and most of it is an overnight fund or liquid fund for companies, you will have difficulty. You will have a problem. It is disappointing, but it will not be a calamity. You will have the time on your side to wait patiently for it. So when we say that think long term, you should be configured to think long term, and this is a grim reminder that we should be taking those principles far more seriously. And if you have not taken those principles seriously so far, note it down, list your things, list your principles, and implement it even now, because we could be in for a long haul of difficult time. It could linger for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, who knows? And there could be a repeat, there could be a relapse of something. So being prepared for it, but having essentials to carry forward your family, ensuring that you have the essentials in place. Also, I'll have few things to say, that a lot of times people are thinking in terms of a very binary system, very erratic moves, which people are thinking. As you know, I've been getting a lot of mails at Value Research, and people are saying that should I get out of all my equity because the market will go down? Equity in the last 2 weeks looks like the safest investment in the very short run. The way it has gone up, the way it has actually gone about recovering the big loss on the free fall immediately after the crisis. So I would say that don't move in a knee-jerk way. Don't behave erratically. Fix your principles, configure your investments, configure your financial affairs in a manner that you don't have to intervene every day. And very few things to do. And only you as an individual are the best. You are the best only person and the best person to assess the real requirement, how to configure it, what your emergencies could be, what is your family configuration, how safe is your job, how likely are you going to lose your job, how likely are you going to be, what could be the potential reduction in your income even if you are able to save your job. These are questions which we are getting from our readers. And I think, you need to really spend half an hour thoughtfully to think about it, rejig things, and don't try to, act in a very irrational manner. Just be fearful or get very greedy in these extreme times. That is what Charlie Munger has also said. These are times to just try to, sleep over things, not much to do if you are well configured.
Thank you so much, Dhiren. It's very detailed, and I'm sure these turbulent times will go very fast, and hopefully we all win together. I'll switch the gear to Mr. Bala sir again. Bala sir, you said it is true, regulators are working overnight and governments are working to make us, all of us, safe, and not only of the virus, but also the post-virus issue, how we can bring back the economy, that's the resilience of the economy. But the biggest challenge the retail investors today they are facing is regulating their own emotions, looking at day-to-day their investments. Somebody is very rightly said, this is a time for them to have a portfolio distancing, but which is not easy after a couple of funds which have been closed when the money is not coming to them. It has become a little challenge whether every fund house I may face the same problem. And to such investors, there are a lot of questions which are coming in. Do I need to shift my debt fund to the overnight fund during this period? Means the whole mindset is moving towards the safety. And I'm sure the investors who have comfortably invested on the liquid fund with one swipe left and one swipe right, probably they are sitting pretty comfortable. What is your advice to such investors today? those who stayed back in the debt as their medium term, and probably they may not need money. But some of the questions very specifically is coming. I'll answer. I'll ask little later. But kindly guide those investors how they can balance their emotions as far as fixed income is concerned. And I mean, as you said on the SIPs, while they continue stay invested.
Yeah, I think interesting, Rao. This question, of course, came when that March end, when the liquid funds gave a negative return. A lot of people got panicked and said that I'll move into, thought about moving actually, not everyone moved, and saying overnight fund I'll go. And forgetting the fact that Reserve Bank of India will come and act in pumping in liquidity in the system. The moment they pumped in liquidity in the system, and the overnight rates just crashed. Overnight rates came down to as low as about 1.5%. In fact, there was a day where there were no takers for crores and crores of money at even less than 1%. They all had to go and give it to Reserve Bank of India at 3.4% at that point of time. And subsequently, they reduced it to 3.75. So that's the reality. So this happens every time. All such investors, believe me, they all came back in the month of 1st of April, came back to the liquid funds, thinking that that they made a mistake of moving into the overnight fund, and they came back to liquid fund. So this we always go through this period of uncertainty, and is once in a while it happens. But liquid fund is something one should not get too much worried because of this reason. I'm saying it has got investments in overnight paper, it has got investments in 30 days paper, it has got investments in 60 days paper, but you can't invest in beyond 60 days paper. So that's, I think, is taken care in terms of portfolio volatility. If somebody is invested in liquid fund and wants to stay invested in liquid fund, absolutely nothing to worry on that. And the same principle one can apply whether it's a low duration fund or ultra short duration funds or banking and PSU funds or even money market funds. Because these schemes, actually we have maturities coming on an ongoing basis, get reinvested, sometimes at higher yield, sometimes lower yield, and this kind of thing is taken care. Second is also have high quality paper, and we don't invest in any of the lower credit quality paper, and therefore that takes care of the credit related risk in terms of having reasonably good exposure to government bonds, treasury bills, PSU bonds, and companies that can actually go for refinancing the market and so on and so forth, right? They stand on their own cash flow to meet their debenture repayment capability, etc. Therefore, one should not worry on these funds in order to and they should keep this investment for long term. I think you specifically mentioned about like MTP. Interestingly, we had a long con call with all our investors in MTP. It's a fund which invests in credit-related instruments and also good quality instruments. Of course, the portfolio have gone through volatility with respect to the interest rates. Interest rates getting widened for low credit quality paper. And second is there were some accidents in the portfolios about a few years back, exactly about 18 months back. And all such investments have been written down to almost near zero value. Therefore, as and when we see actually the recovery of those investments coming back to the schemes, the investors who are invested in MTP or credit risk fund or dynamic bond fund will get the benefit out of that. And I must also mention that after we had one instance of credit defaults almost about 1.5 years back, we didn't have, we avoided all the credit related risk. We made the portfolios more safer. We made the portfolio more liquid and gone a little conservative in terms of dialing the any credit related papers in these kind of funds, in the interest of investors. Such decisions also been taken. If somebody has invested in say MTP and having not seen the return coming in the portfolio for the last 1.5 years, and believe me, as our underlying investments gets fully what we call become good, completely resolved once the money starts coming back, which is the case we already seen it. But I think what needs to come back is the valuation gain. When the valuation gains comes back, the existing investors will also get the benefit. In order to ensure we get the benefit to the existing investors, I must also mention here that we also stop taking inflows in that. If somebody says that if so much a gain is going to come, should I come and put money in a scheme? You cannot put that. We don't take any fresh money in this scheme beyond 10 lakh rupees, only keeping in mind the interest of investors. Second, having seen ups and downs, recently post this 27th incident, we also took a call, the interest of investors. We must cut the expenses, the management fees, to the extent of about 65, 70 basis points to give the benefit to the investors. That's also we have now done it in the interest of investors. Therefore, as long as the portfolio now constructed the way it is done, and then the way I think the recovery process will happen, the medium term plan investors or credit risk fund investors or the dynamic bond investors should not get too much worried. You don't need to redeem. I would rather assume that stay invested to get the benefit of recovery also in the portfolio.
Thank you so much, Bala sir, for reinforcing that confidence and giving back to the investors, and also need of the hour for them. I mean, cutting short, it's a really applaudable move to cut short those expenses and not to charge the expenses to the fund. It's a phenomenal. And it could have been one fund house which is impacted, even that is in the interest of investors, which they would have done. And probably we may not compare each one with this. I'll just take this back to Dhiren. This could be the last one I can ask Dhiren. You can give your view, and after that we will take the questions. Given this scenario, Dhiren, what are the do's and don'ts you advise to rebalance the portfolio on both fixed income and the equity side?
One is that you need, if you have worked on any plan and you are at it, do nothing. Do nothing because of the movements. The only thing you should do is rebalance. If your asset allocation has gone for a toss, if you invested in equity, all your investments, you thought that 50% of it will be in equity, 50% of it will be in debt. Equity went down by 40% and it has recovered substantially from those lows by 20%. And some of your debt fund also, you are expecting some return instead of, hopefully most of it is profit, has gains, or it has some of it, most of it has gains and some of it has losses. You have to see that, how soon you should be doing your rebalancing. Don't do it every day. Don't do it only, put some limits, because there'll be tax implication. And also it may not be a very meaningful exercise, but doing some rebalancing will be profitable for you. For this, you will have to configure your portfolio for simplification. If you have too many funds and if you have too many bond funds and too many equity funds, if you have, in fact, for simplicity, you should actually put a number to it, because the practicality of, implementing it with ease, should be that, you should not have more than 5 kind of these funds at most, even if you have a very large portfolio. Because most of the time I'm coming across portfolios which looks like a large collection. It is a collector's portfolio, not an investor's portfolio. Sometimes 20 funds, 25 funds, 30 funds. It's quite normal. So reduce it to something manageable so that you are interested. You have some serious interest. And when you want to intervene to rebalance, you should be able to do it effectively. Now, there are different problems for different investors. People who don't have that emergency fund, they need to create one. The scale of emergency fund, you have to assess yourself. How much money should be in your pocket, in your wallet? How much money should be in your savings bank account? And how much money should be there in the liquid fund? That is what you have to decide. Don't panic that, right now people are thinking that I've come across investors who want to actually take out all their money from equity because they think that equity will go down further and it has made a comeback. They want to move all their money from all kind of fixed income fund. Maybe it is time to think harder about it. Organize your investment. This is a good time to clean up your portfolio and organize and write the rules that you are actually following to organize your portfolio, so that you can get back to those rules and say that why you did something, because so far many investors would have done something randomly. So if you do these 3-4 things, and if you're investing in equity, have that long-term orientation. 40% decline, 20% decline. I would say it is good news if you're a long-term investor. You are buying cheap, and the ideal thing should be, that for all my period of investment, equity should be in dumps, and only before I need the money, it should actually grow dramatically. That will turn out to be the most profitable thing for me. But really, it doesn't happen that way. So, it'll have its ups and downs. Do some periodic rebalancing. Don't try to work hard on your investment because you don't have to work hard on something else. Just because the market is causing a lot of anxiety, your working hard will not help it. So do minimal things and do it in a methodical way and articulate your rules.
Thank you, Dhiren, for that advice. probably the advice could be they can sit with their advisor without any emotions and use the tools what is available on the value research at our Aditya Birla Sun Life Asset Management Company. On our investor education site, we have a lot of tools and calculators people can use and try to rebalance, simplify your portfolio, but all that without emotions and without getting into a panic kind of it. Now I'll move back to question sessions. There are many questions which have come across. I don't know whether we will answer all the questions to the paucity of time. Looking at the time, maybe in the next 15 to 20 minutes, we quickly take those questions. I'll take the first question to Bala sir. Bala sir, this is a question from Mr. Ramesh Kulkarni. He said, he's asking, I heard that RBI has extended some sort of loan worth rupees 50,000 crores to mutual fund houses for meeting excessive redemption requests after the recent crisis in the debt funds. But would 50,000 crores actually sufficient if everyone starts redeeming money from the debt funds out of panic?
Yeah. I think interesting. I saw that article, and frankly, what they reported, the way they reported actually is not right. That mutual funds have taken a loan, and frankly, though the limit has been given by Reserve Bank of India to be used by banks to provide support to the mutual funds, only about 2,000 crores have been used because there was no much of redemptions came into the schemes beyond certain extent. I think most of the people have managed their redemptions using their own internal liquidity that they have kept. All the mutual funds have done it. So that's one. Second is, if you make an assumption that the money will be sufficient if there are redemptions, say of 15 lakh crore, definitely not sufficient. But I have seen historically that mutual funds redemption do not come unless until the general panic level increases. And as long as you control the panic level in the form of Reserve Bank of India coming and giving a support, then naturally the anxiety to redeem, the worry generally that one carries disappears, then come back to normal. This is what I think I would always assume in the mutual fund happens every now and then. Therefore, while the question that you ask is hypothetical questions, and one can, if it goes to that extent, yes, it will not be sufficient. At the same time, I also feel that 49 crores is sufficient as long as we know that 49 crores limit is available in case the mutual fund industry gets into some liquidity crunch and therefore they have to access somebody's door to get their support. That is 49 crores is sufficient.
Thank you, Bala sir. It's typically this 50,000 crores is a reserve. It's a confidence booster, but fund houses need not look at those 50,000 crores, and fund houses so far have not utilized less than. I mean, thanks for that confidence, Bala sir. And now I move this question to Dhiren. Dhiren, this is a question coming from Rajneesh Agnihotri, and he says, my emergency corpus is parked in liquid funds. Are they still safe? Where should I invest my emergency fund, or how much contingency fund I need to have now? Given the scenario, do I need to increase my contingency fund size?
This Bala has explained, and I think in this time or in these times of complete risk aversion, a lot of investors are getting anxious and getting worried that their liquid fund may not be safe. Not so. Liquid funds have been tightened substantially. There have been one or two instances which actually is causing the fear that even liquid funds may not be safe. But I would say that that experience itself drove most mutual funds to reorganize their portfolio in a far more conservative way. So your emergency fund can well be parked in liquid fund with reasonable confidence. I think the accident that we saw in the liquid fund was of an exceptional kind, and I think lesson has been learned. Of course, we can have some other kind of calamity, but I would say, and the other points about how much emergency fund, how much contingency fund, you are the best person to judge about it. It is not for an expert to really do that estimation. You know your conditions, you know your context. Just ensure that, ask some loud question that how likely are you going to, what is the likelihood of you losing your job? What is the likelihood? So, that causes a different degree of, that requires a different scale. Who are your dependents? If you have your old parents and young children to be taken care of, how many people depend on you? So I think those are things. What are your living expenses? What are the living expenses which you can curtail? Thinking about the worst time. So these are estimates which only you can do, and do that. If there is a need to really, for that reason, if there is a need to take money out from equity and put it in a liquid fund, do that. Because it is very important to have peace of mind and be assured that for 1.5 years, you have nothing to worry about. Everything will go on with your life fine while you're trying to rejig yourselves. And also in this context, I would like to tell a lot of, we have been getting a lot of mails from our viewers and, readers. They have been telling me that, should they really liquidate their investment and give up, clear up their loans? I would say don't do that. Have that money. It is important, in these times, as Mr. Munger says, that do nothing. It is important to actually even have that borrowed money. Even if you have created some money for repayment and you are in good preparedness, it is better to keep that money with you. Put it in a liquid fund, keep it in a safe manner, and let a couple of months pass by, and then you can clear up. It is good to have that money in hand and actually be cleared of that liability and be immediately out of pocket. So take it easy and have that buffer from wherever it comes by.
Thanks, Dhiren. Bala sir, there are 3 questions which I am clubbing together because of the paucity of time. Here is a question which is coming. Is it a good time to average out in equity? The first question. And the second question, which is related almost, is in how much time is the market likely to recover after the COVID is completed, sorted out? Third question is, where do you see markets in the next 6 to 12 months as far as equity is concerned?
Yeah. Of course, difficult to predict where the index level could be. Because none of us, so far, if we go by the past predictions of all of us, I don't think we would have got it right in terms of calling the index level on a 6 months or 1 year basis. Probably would have been right in calling the market in the long run. I must confess and admit that that we are not expert in calling the market in the short term. But having said that, what I only feel that from a direction point of view, I think equity is one as a class that will go through ups and downs. But the long run, it does well. Therefore, equity as an asset class, we have to keep it as part of the overall asset allocation with the intention to keep it for long term. That's one. Second, the market had fallen quite substantially post COVID, and the way it fell, as I mentioned earlier, 50% correction is quite substantial. From 50% corrections, now it's come back. Now I think market is getting into some bit of buoyancy mode, which probably can stay for the next 6 months. Only for one reason. One, liquidity is very large. People are finding it difficult actually where to put this money. And Government of India will come with various measures, not just only in India, but globally. Therefore, we'll see a series of positive flows to keep the overall momentum in place. Plus, we may also see emerging market flows coming back to emerging market. Therefore, it can actually create new demand instead of the supply. So all these factors put together, I would assume that index may actually keep up the upward territory. We must also take the fact that index Nifty fell from 12,500 to as low as about 7,900. It's given a good bounce back on various reasons which I just mentioned. Therefore, that hope I think will come back. I think we must also remember that market is driven by optimism and pessimism. Right now, we were in a pessimism mode for the last 3-4 months. We are not knowing what will happen. But there are certain directions which seems to be coming back, but not on the earnings, but in order to revive the economic growth. Such steps that is being taken, if they bring back the optimism, probably the market actually would probably on the rising side. That's something which I think one can see it. That's the way I think normally the market behaves.
Thank you, Balaji. Thanks for giving that hope and optimism. And with that, I'll take the next question to Dhiren. Dhiren, this question from Ms. Reena. And she says, even the long-term disciplined investor have lost their money. That's within the brackets, it's the returns, who are investing over the last 5 years. What is long-term now? 7 to 10 years? Or what should they do now?
Yeah, I would say that, this is something which is unprecedented. And the free fall that we faced, a crisis which is coming not from the financial market, but came from elsewhere and has a phenomenal effect on all dimensions of business. So I would say that this is This was unexpected. This was unanticipated. It was unthinkable. I would say that it entirely depends. I don't know what time period it will be. If we are able to get over this crisis based on all the actions, right now we are taking all the preemptive actions. We are trying to take all the precautions. When the businesses will get restored, and it is going to have a major ramification in terms of the way people will function from here on. Some of the business models, we are thinking that everything will get all right in 3 months, and we saw the panic selling, and there will be a reversal of it, and there will be a panic buying. No, there will be a lot of reject that will happen. It is going to impact a lot of business models in terms of how people conduct their businesses, the greater efficiency that will follow. But it is all up in the air right now. It is very difficult to see that, where we will be in 3 months' time and where we will be in 1.5 years' time. I'm hopeful that in a couple of years' time, we will look back as a bad dream or something which was devastating. So we will get over this. What is the time frame? We don't know. So with that in mind, I would say that be in a high quality fund. All the time lost will be more than rewarded. There'll be winners and losers of this crisis that we are seeing. There'll be losers. There will be companies which will actually lose the ground. There'll be companies which will actually be impaired permanently. There'll be businesses which will benefit. There'll be businesses, large businesses, which will benefit, and they will be able to corner a market share. Look at all the products, services, and all the things that we consume. It's not going to coming to an end. There will be restoration of things, but right now in the standstill situation that we are, it is very difficult to visualize a time frame. But yes, keep few years in mind, and I think one will be reasonably rewarded. One important thing is that one should be investing through these times. If you are doing your SIP, continue. You will be buying cheap, and that will enhance your return as if you are going to invest for a couple of years.
Thank you, Dhiren. I mean, effectively, the message is stay for long-term investment, and of course, you should have a periodical review as you stay back. Thank you for it, and I'll take this question to Bala sir. Bala sir, this is a question which is talking. I'll again club these two questions. It's one question is coming. What kind of asset allocation would you suggest for the first-time investors in the current scenario with a horizon of 5 years? And second question is, what would be the ideal fund for both an aggressive and conservative investor among the large cap or mid cap and small cap?
Yeah, I think the asset allocation, I think one should go by the thumb rule and principle, which is widely followed. If your age is 20, assuming either 80 or 100 as the age by which one will live, then 80 minus 20 or 100 minus 20 should be the allocation towards equity. That's where I think one has to build the equity exposures. I think if we keep this as a principle, eventually, for somebody at the age of about 40, he will have roughly about 40% in equity, and balance 40% will be in debt, or maybe 50 could be in equity, or 40 could be in debt. That's the way I think asset allocation normally is to be done. I think if we keep this as a principle, I think it becomes much easier to follow. I think then after that, it's only a question of moving a little up, little down, depending upon where do you want to be overweight, underweight. That's why I think our conservative approach, moderate, everything comes into play. So that's, I think, the principle on which one should play. If this is a standard answer, is a constant answer, whether it is today or tomorrow, therefore just keep this in mind. And second, with respect to the investors, about conservative investors, but I want to take a risk on equity, then naturally large cap schemes will becomes the point of focus. Given the fact, one, it has got direct linkage to the Nifty, and more or less is like a move closer to the Nifty or Sensex, and to the extent the risk is taken care, and therefore the volatility will be the least. At the same time, when the broad market does well, of course, the Nifty do well. If the Nifty doing well, that's why the market cannot do well. And that's principally, I think, if we keep, I think, large cap fund for a conservative investors, I think should be the focus. I would even take the liberty of suggesting that even index funds could also be for such investors. It could be a choice of investing, because we all actively manage funds. We all run. We also run index funds. I think one can choose between both of them either equally split or just on one fund itself. And that's the, I think, model in which one can build it.
Thank you so much, Bala sir. Thanks for that answer. I'm sure it would have been satisfied both the attendees of this seminar asking those questions. And this is a question for Dhiren. Dhiren, I'll again clubbing two questions together. This question is coming, should we increase our allocation to gold is the first question. Second is, I am planning to exit from my equity funds and would like to invest in gold. Would it be right so?
No. One is that I've been a long disbeliever in gold because it's not a productive asset. But in times like this, gold actually shines, and that is why gold has had such brief period of exuberance. One should have some small allocation to gold. That's about it. Your productive assets are equity and debt, and that should be the principal asset allocation. You can be very conservative with your equity investments. You can also be very conservative with your fixed income investments. And you can periodically rebalance it because thriving on a situation that the whole world, in the backdrop of doomsday, gold thrives, which is it may not be a great idea, a long-term investment idea. Yes, for now, gold is doing well, and it is doing very well, extraordinarily well. But I don't know if, ideal thing should happen if you would have bought gold before all these things happened. At this stage, I think you will just end up buying high.
Thank you, Dhiren. And I'll go back to Bala sir. Probably this could be a last question or one more. I may take it paucity of time. We are running short of time. Bala sir, this is a question which is coming in. I do not have an expertise to rebalance my portfolio. What are the trigger points that I should keep in mind if I have to change my stance and my asset allocation?
So I think once we fix this limit, I think the earlier question I answered that 40, 60 or 60, 40 or 50, 50. Once you fix it, and there is a component which of course the appreciation component takes you higher in terms of allocation towards one sector, which is an equity. The equity market goes up by say 20%. Your equity 50% may go to 55, and then overall portfolio, rest of the portfolio becomes say 45. I think whenever the changes, and if you're comfortable with the 50-50 allocation, and then go up to 60, and then put a plus or minus some kind of range, and then if it crosses that your limit of say 60, then you should actually book some kind of profit and move into the fixed income. And that's I think balancing that you should do. Also, one must remember this, that one should not do the rebalancing on a daily basis. I think you should have some kind of time frame, either 3 months or 6 months or a yearly basis. I think keep some kind of principle. I think then it can take in care. At the end of the day, I think if you also have an advisor who is advising you on this kind of allocation, help you manage your money. And of course, I'm sure they would also give their guidance to you. And even you can go by that guidance as well. I think each one will have different guidance, more or less on the same lines. And you just follow this principle and don't do frequently, but do it at a periodical interval. And that's more than enough to take care of your asset allocation pattern.
Bala sir, there is one follow-up question which has come in. I mean, of course, earlier you have answered, but these two questions I will put it together. What is the bottom of Sensex? I mean, there is a reports which I read, it is 20,000. And what point should investors to enter? Then there is another question which is coming is, when we will get back FIS money, and do I need to wait till the time to put my money?
Yeah, I think clearly both the questions are, I generally call it as a speculative in nature. A bit difficult to take a call that what is the level at which one should make an index. Normally what happens is when the index, one of the principles I always believed remain for long. When the market falls sharply, there's always what comes in the mind of people, actually let it fall further to make my investment. When the market goes up very high, there is always a tendency that let the market come down, I'll make investment. These are the common things which normally most of the people follow. In both the time, what happens is you end up waiting, actually investing in equity, either index or equity funds. So to avoid such kind of confusion, I think one should start somewhere without looking at timing, and that's something one should keep as a principle. But when it comes to the question, a specific question of yours that whether the market could fall and when the money would come back, Though, as I mentioned earlier, I think FII's money moves out. There are risky money that moves out first. Hedge fund money moves out first. That's what we have seen in the month of January, February, March. At the same time, when liquidity is launching the system so much globally, I think money could come back as quickly as we have seen in the past as well. So ultimately, risky money comes back very quickly. Therefore, one should not wait for the FII's money to come in to make the investment. I think one should always look at if your investment time horizon is longer, please go and take a bet. If your investment time horizon is shorter, then probably you may have to be conservative, say invested in fixed income schemes, other short durations, like low duration funds or savings fund kind of thing. You may have to stay invested if your investment time horizon is very, very short. When I mean very, very short, say less than a year types. If it's more than a year, I think don't try to time the market, and probably you start looking at what time you are going to be in the market rather than time in the market.
Thank you, Balasar. Thanks for the detailed answer. I think with that, I'll take it as a last question. And last, before going, Dhiren, I have one question which is coming about overnight funds. Is it for me to put all my surpluses comfortably in the overnight funds? Do you think that is as good as my savings bank account? And what do you suggest?
Yeah, overnight fund by its very design is like it has, in fact, it could be little safer than your savings bank account, because if you are faced with a situation like Yes Bank, overnight fund money is unlikely to get stuck in the manner, and it is invested in the overnight bank bank instruments. So in that sense, yes, it could be a better diversification. But I would say that most individual investors will also be able to get moderately higher return without assuming any meaningful risk, even with most of the conservative liquid funds. Don't look for the most highest return providing liquid fund, but a mix of liquid fund and overnight fund is reasonably safe.
Thank you so much, Dhiren. Thank you, Balasar. Thanks to both of you for being here, giving a brief on the current scenario, how to handle post-COVID. Of course, during the COVID is not ended. Definitely, the virus in the air would not have gone out, but fear in the minds definitely receded after attending your call. And at Aditya Birla Sun Life, we are running a series of webinars which we call Coping with the COVID Need of the Hour. Need of the Hour is HOUR, that is the acronym. We call H is a hope, O is an optimism, U is an understanding, R is a resilience. Probably it's the time for us, after listening to two legends, keep your hope and optimism alive. I think there is a clear understanding what each one of us do. End of it, people always say we are all in the same boat. Absolutely no, we are not on the same boat. We are in the same sea, but our boats are very different and our personal finances are very different. Each of us need to take a call depending on our financial status and where we are standing. Probably relook at your business, relook at your money, your salaries, and your other goals, and rebalance your portfolios. That's a message from the legends. And the last one, R for HOUR, is the resilience. I think Indian economy got that resilience to come back, and mutual fund industry is working its best to build on things to build back the confidence. I think rest assured, you can mutual fund SAIA is truly SAIA, and Dhirendra is always there to guide on the value research platform for any of the queries. And we look forward to have the next hangout sessions with Dhirenji to take out more on. And probably soon we will have another session on the fixed income special. We will have our CIO, Mr. Manish Dangi, on the call. Thank you for joining on this call. I thank Mr. Bala, Mr. Dhiren for taking time. And thank you so much. For some of you, paucity of time, we could not answer all the questions. Rest assured, please post on our Hangouts website. And we try to answer all the questions as we come across the next Hangouts. Thanks to you all. And I'll sign off on behalf of Aditya Birla Sun Life Asset Management Company and wishing you all the good luck. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay wealthy too. God bless you all. Thank you.